Hi, Caleb and Steve with Brownells here. Today we're going to be going over the differences between rebluing, refinishing, and restoring your firearm and those different types of finishes. So Steve, let's start off with just basic rebluing.
Right, because that's a generic term everybody uses, but it doesn't cover all the territory that can be covered. So to me, rebluing is simply getting another finish on the gun after the bluing has been worn off or whatever. Doesn't matter what it is, just get it on there to protect the gun. It can even be cold blue in some cases.
So just your standard basic bluing job.
Right.
Okay.
Something like this, where somebody ran it through a bead blaster and dumped it in the bluing tank. That was it. No special prep, no nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a Mauser action, and it doesn't look like an original Mauser finish, which we'll get to in just a bit here. But let's talk about refinishing.
Refinishing. Well, suppose someone took a little more care with this gun, got rid of all the scratches, because the customer came in, it had a nice finish to begin with, but he said, it's too reflective. I want a dull finish. I would count that as refinishing if they put a bead blast finish on there and kind of finely tuned it with some Scotch-Brite just to cut down on the glare.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, pretty much all cosmetics really come down to personal preference, but refinishing would be still considered more of an upgrade for that user.
Right, and normally you're going to a higher polish.
Right.
You want your gun to look a little classier.
Sure. Yep, so yeah, that makes perfect sense. So now let's talk about what I would consider to be the highest here, and that would be, well, in some cases, restoring.
Restoring is bringing it back to original, including having the polishing marks go in the same direction in different parts of the gun as the originals did. Someone like Turnbull Restorations or Tyler Gunworks, they can do restoration work like that where you can't tell it didn't come from the factory.
Yeah, so a good example of that would be taking this Mauser action and putting the same finish on it. Let's say, for all intents and purposes, an early war Mauser, something that was a little bit nicer than the late wars, and making it look original. And
right.
and refinishing is not really just for, or restoring. It's not just for metal work either. It's wood and everything else.
Right, and refinishing and restoring can both be very expensive.
Oh yeah.
For instance, this single action here done by Tyler Gunworks has been color cased, it's been polished out, reblued, had grips fitted, everything's been polished out. That's as expensive as a restoration in a lot of cases because a lot of work's involved. Makes the gun look a lot better, adds to the value of it. But in this case, we wanted something custom looking rather than original looking. Maybe 100 years from now, they'll want to put a Ruger like this back in factory showroom condition, but right now, this is the way to go for my money. This Tokarev here, as rough as they come out of Romania, this was just bead blasted, nice and easy, and the sides polished with a little bit of wet and dry paper, and that was it. Nothing special, didn't want to spend a lot of time on it, but still it makes the gun look a lot better, but that's pretty much a reblue.
Yeah, and that one looks way better than the originals did.
Yeah.
So in that case, a restore, in my opinion, would kind of be a downgrade.
Yeah, it could be, could easily be. So rebluing, get rid of rust, get rid of bare spots, get some kind of finish on there. Refinishing, change the finish that's on there to something you like better. Restoration, put it back the way it was the day it left the factory. Easy.
Yep, so there you have it. There's the differences in those three primary types of finishes. So if you have any questions or you have a gun that you've restored or had restored, let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.